Setting a recording, and I'm going to start sharing screen. So welcome, welcome, welcome everyone. Let me go straight please to a trade I'm in, which I've been in for a while, which is the Euro JPY, and I'm still in it. It's dropped back down. I've set my, at the moment I was just following the 62, which is still going up. Sorry, I'm not, this one isn't particularly on BYOB at the moment, but I did put it as a buy. I got in at 122.268 quite a long time ago. It's kind of chunted along. I put a fib within a fib and I have moved various channels, but it's still a strong upward trend. And although it's dipped back down, I haven't got out at the 10 pip alert. I've just been trailing the 62. In fact, I'm at 122.340. I'll have to stop sharing to move it up because it's on my live account, which is on this computer, not on my phone. But at the moment, it's touching back on that. This is the smaller fib. I won't go into fibs too much today, but because I'm actually in this live trade, I just want to keep an eye on it. I've set an alert up there, but I think could even go up to this next quarter theory at 122.50. And the reason for that, if we go back up to our hourly scan, this is what you call a momentum trade. So just ignore those fibs. There's a bigger white one from where I started off earlier on. The blue lines are my alerts. So when you're deciding how you're going to trade, some of us do momentum trades, we do a mix, or we do reversals within the momentum. So it can be trickier to spot a reversal in the market where you're getting lower lows and lower highs, you know, or vice versa, where it's turning around. So a momentum trade means I'm going with the trend. So the D point here on the 24th of November on the hourly, you can see the 62, which is the 1 minute crossed above. And let me just get my bearings here. Came out of that scan down into that white one, and which is an older one, and then you can see that it never crossed below. So that's what attracted me. Here was the UK British general election last Thursday. The reason we're still mentioning this is because it causes, that was 400 pips, and it causes imbalance in the market. It's a strong, I won't go into politics too much, but just to explain, if you're not from the UK and you're watching this, it's very strong for the pound because it removed uncertainty with a strong majority government after 3.5 years. So it stalled out at that quarter theory, strong line of support and resistance. It's come back down to collect up money in the market, and now it's taken off again. And the euro is linked to the GBP because it's the European Union that Great Britain is leaving. So the euro is now recovering some of its demise. You know, it fell back down sharply, so it's coming back up. So it is following this pitchfork scan very nicely. So let's just go back down to the 15-minute. Now I put various. I have been moving these. I've been moving these channels. Channel trading. It isn't channel trading that I'm doing, but I was just keeping an eye on where it was going. So I need to go down to the 1 minute because I usually work. I'll just hide. Well, I won't hide the fibs because I'll just explain maybe a little bit without having too many lines on it. So now we've come back down. It's touching the 62. It could take me out, but with this trade, I've already done 17 pips on a sell on GBP USD this morning. It's tougher in the fourth quarter, but just past the hour. It's tougher in the fourth quarter. You've got to grind away. You know, it doesn't move as fast in the market, so it's a great time to practice. And I am on a live account, but I've only got 0.05 on this, and I was trying to squeeze out some pips. So maybe as I've done 17, my target each day is 25. I shouldn't have, but I wanted to see if it would go up this far. So you know, if I had pushed my stop profit back to that 62, then I'd be out by now, and on the spread it might take me out in a minute, so I would have done about one. I've only got a 10 pip stop loss on it, so I will have done, if that's I think I've got it at 5 pips, 1%, so 1 to 1, so I've risked 1%. I've risked 1% because I didn't cash out at the 10 pips, to see if I can catch 2% or 3% at the 25 pips. So that's probably taken me out now, but I think it will carry on going up. So I may keep an eye on it and have another go at it. Maybe not. Because it's coming up. There's the next pitchfork, this green line up here. And as I say, there's the next quarter theory. I won't go into the Fibonacci's and the explanation of this because I think it's just taken me out now at one point at 122.343. Yeah, it will have taken me out. So it's dropped right back down. But that was a deliberate strategy on my part with this trade. So it depends how many trades you're doing and where you are with your wins, losses and break evens on how much you want to risk, because once you've secured, in my case, 25 pips for the day, then I may only go for 1 to 1 or 1% on a trade and see if I can squeeze something out, or, you know, just play around with it a bit more. So I stayed in this and it chanted along, but I still saw the 62 was coming up. And even though I was in drawdown for a while back down here, and then it went up. So you can see it's been quite, you know, sort of quite, but my Fibonacci's were all looking quite good, and I still think it's going to go up. So I'll put that down for another buy on your watch list, and I won't clear all this up, but we might go back to it. I could take these fibs off actually, just make it a bit clearer now. Don't think we need them on any longer, so you can have a better look. And I will do this while we're here. Just take off these and the previous channel. Right. So what's it doing now? Well, the other thing I liked about it was you've still got a good gap between the 15-minute and the 62. It has formed a new high up there and a higher low. So it still looks to me like it's in an upward trend. But I'm going to clear this. I'll clear this off now. I can probably use those again another time. So that probably gives you a better idea. So I've made a few pips on that. But whenever I post trades, because I'm on the smaller time frame, looking at the 1 to 15 minute, I always say, please do your own analysis. I do try and post them, but unless they're going to go, you know, there's 10, 20, 25 pips, then, you know, you've got to be on the alert for mine. I'm not posting in the free trial group yet because I'm still learning the BYOB overlay on the Harmonic Scanner. So let's just put the stars on it. Go to the 15-minute. Let's do it on BYOB, see what it's telling us. Take the pivots off. I still think this is a buy. And where's the stochastic gone? Oh. Pop that on. Smooth that up a bit. Give it time to load. So it says it on the 15-minute it's peaked, so expecting a SAR flip, and put the high Kanashi candles on because they show us the flat bottoms. So it just looks like it's touching the, coming up to that quarter theory. Let me measure the pips. So it was 4 pips off the quarter theory. I don't consider that quite a touch. 1 to 2 pips in this size market, 6.6 trillion, I consider a touch. That's perhaps a tiny bit off. And we've got a flat bottom green candle, and we've got the, so this is saying it's a sell on the 15 minutes. It's just magnifying that. You haven't got the SAR flip, that's all. We're just waiting for the SAR flip. We've got the sellers underneath the buyers, and have we got 45-degree angle? And it's just a bit slow because I'm on Zoom, trying to get this stochastic further up for you. There we are. See if I can. So we're just waiting for the SAR flip on the 15-minute there, and but you have in my harmonic scanner, you've got a pitchfork there. So and it's only about 4 pips away from the pitchfork. So the way I trade, I like to see it breaking through a pitchfork. A pitchfork is an aggressive line, more accurate line because it's got Fibonacci built into it than trend lines. And then you've got the pips down to the quarter theory, and where's the pivots? See where the previous low was. It's going to come up. Is it being slow to load? Not showing us on that any highs or lows. Oh, there's one. Previous low of 121.930. But to get down to that, it's got to go right down through quarter theory and back to that original extension pitchfork, which I don't think it's going to do because the momentum, you've still got the 62 pointing up, and it's still quite a way away from the 15-minute. So I think that if it comes down through that line and the SAR flips at about 122.262, and I'm only on the 15-minute, then you might have some 10 to 20, say 10 pips, 5 to 10 pips if it's on the 15-minute. And we go up to the hourly. As I say, for those just joining, was in this for a buy. I've just done some pips, 17 pips on GBP USD on a sell. So I risked this one. I didn't cash out when it went over 10 pips. I was looking for it to go up to the next quarter theory, and I still think it's going to do that because of the gap between the 62 and the 15-minute EMAs. But at the moment, it's just dropped back down through the 10 pips and taken me out where I had moved my stop loss. The stop profit at about 5 pips. I was trading the 62 EMA, so I deliberately risked that strategy because I wanted to see if I could squeeze out some more pips on it. But I suppose really I should have just taken the 10 pips, but I didn't. But anyway, it was a conscious decision is what I'm saying. So that's on the hourly. We've got a wiki candle. We haven't got a SAR flip. It's not over the 80. And I'm sorry, I don't think I put it on the right. Yes, I have. I've put it on the right candles. So no trade on the hourly. I mean, I may be biased on this one because, as I say, I'm still may keep an eye on it to get in for another buy. There's the flat bottom on the 15-minute, waiting for the SAR flip, and it's got a bit of a gap, and it is in the 80. It's in the 80 zone. It's outside our purple box there on the stochastic. So keep an eye on that one at the moment for. Yeah, I'm going to write down Euro JPY sell 15-minute, and as you know, Les is on at 7 p.m. UK time. I'm sure he will pick up on some of these, so we can. Oh, there's the SAR flip. So I think you've got because I've been looking at this for quite some hours. I think you have got 5 pips at least for a sell on this. But the only thing I don't like, because I'm so trained on pitchforks, is you've got a pitchfork at a couple of pips away. And you can see how you know, price does make its decisions on the pitchforks. If you were on a bit earlier on when I went back to the original scan, how it's gone up on this. This is a momentum trade with an upward scan, fairly recent scan off the D point. So for those of you who've just joined, you can make your own mind up about hopping into this for a sell. If I do get in, I will get in actually, just on the demo account. I was in my live account earlier on, but just for 0.05. So here's the, sorry about all the lines. Well, that's not really my fault, just overlaying the strategies. So there's the D point on the 25th of November. Take the pivots off to make it a bit clearer for you. Just give it a bit slow on the system. And let me just take off the SAR flip at the moment to show you the trend. So it was coming off an old, price dropped down into an old scan, which is the white one, the white pitchforks off this D point. But the new scan, the one you want to be looking at, I'll fade out this. Let's give it a moment. This system is a bit slow. So off the D point, up to the next pitchfork, there, down to that pitchfork, respected it perfectly, and quarter theory, which is how you can see how strong they are as lines of support and resistance. Up again to the next pitchfork, it did come through there, but to quarter theory. It then came down, broke through the pitchfork to quarter theory, down through that quarter theory to the extensions. It touched here the 15-minute, which is always a good sign. If price is touching the 15-minute and it's within the band, so it's bounced off the 15-minute to come up to the 62, which is a rolling line of support and resistance. That's how you should view it. And then it's done nothing much there. It's consolidation. And then 6th of December dropped down to 50 pips. Look how it's rejected off quarter theory once it's come right down there. So come right outside this scan, even off the extensions. It's testing the 15-minute, then breaks through the 1-minute, back up to our quarter theory, back up here, reject, 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 break through, and then here we are. This is the general election, so it does affect the euro as well as the GBP. I don't quite know why the euro went up in the election, because I would have thought it wasn't very, it might have just been certainty on both sides rather than uncertainty, because at least the deal can be struck. And here we are through quarter theory, right back down. And then so it's a momentum trade that I was in. I looked at all this, looked at the upward direction of the 62. And as I say, I've been in it today. And here we are, it's just falling short of this next pitchfork and quarter theory. And it's up, this is the hourly, it's up, just coming up above the, to the 80. So here's so this is your explanation why there's a sell situation on BYOB at the moment. So I'll leave it up to you. I will do this on demo. You can see it's coming back down there. It has got that 45-degree angle, but they're quite close together. And I've still got that slight upward trend on the 62. But if I go to the 1-minute, which I know none of you do, but I do, you can see it. So you won't pay attention to this because it's bottomed out under the 20, but it's far too short a time scale. But I just wanted to see where it was with the pitchfork. So at the moment, it's just rejecting off that pitchfork. So personally, I'd like to see it break through that. Let's put the SARS on again, and then I'll go back up to the 15-minute. And we've just had a SAR flip at the bottom, so it's not liking that pitchfork. Where are we on the 5-minute? On the 5-minute, there's a SAR flip, there's flat bottom candles, and it's come down to the below 20. And on the 15-minute, we've just had the SAR flip and a flat bottom. So I think you've got a trade there, but I'm only going to do it on demo. So I've done about just under 20 pips today. and that's GBP USD sell and a buy on this Euro JPY, which I've just been taken out of my stop profit at a few pips, so it was about 5 pips. So here's your, let me magnify it for you. Here's your SAR flip, flat bottom candle, above, it looks like it's above the 80, you've got a gap there and you've got the sellers in control. So what's price at the moment? Price is at 122.292. So what I'm going to do is I'll just set that, I'm only going to do it on demo, put that down as entry, and then I'll put in an automatic take profit so I don't have to keep an eye on it while we're doing this at short position 122, something like that. I mean, I am above the pitchfork, so I wouldn't be doing like this on a live account, personally. Just the settings, entry price, whatever it's going to be, something like 290. Profit level at 10 pips, that's 100 with the pipettes, and a stop loss of 10, so that's only 1-to-1, which would be 122.396, and for the take profit 122.190. So let's go to demo and find our Euro JPY and then move on to some other pairs. And as I say, I'll leave that up to you. I've got Euro JPY on there. So new order, I'll leave it at 0.05. I usually just do that on this, leave it at that anyway. Stop loss 122.39. What's price? 39. Oh, 393, and take profit at bid and ask 122.19, 390, 39. Oh, it's just going up. 9. Split the difference then, 395. All right, let's see what that does. Just check your, that gave me a price of 311 because it went up a bit. 311. So I'll just modify that to 411 and put that at 211. So it'd be the 10 pips. Right, I'm going to leave that to run, and it's up to you. I think you should have 5. You should have about 5 pips there. But I just don't like that pitchfork very much myself, and the upward momentum on that 62. So that's Euro JPY. Please feel free to interrupt and ask questions. I know I'm rabbiting away, but I really don't mind. The other one we've been looking at quite a bit is USD CAD. I did come out of this at 3 pips, and I did message Les about this last night because we've been discussing it, I think, on his session. I'm glad I came out of it, not overall, but because it wicked right back down to I can't remember what line it wicked down on, but it would have just taken me right out. So it was the correct decision, and I do not. It was late in the evening. I do not like holding trades overnight. Sometimes I've been trading Asian session. I've stopped doing that because I have found it's more a period of consolidation. And what happens is, if I have been on one of Chance and Samantha's sessions at 1:30, there's another one for night, for example. So I tend to start looking at trades, and then I stay up because I don't want to leave them, even and then I'm exhausted. So I've decided there's no point and it's not very good for me. So on this big scan, which is something like 203 divided by 4, so you've got 50 pips per leg of each pitchfork. So again, it's an upward scan. Ignore this green, so it's a big scan.
Sarah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
You can hear me clearly?
Yeah.
Oh, good. That EJ that you just put a order on, is
Yeah.
that a sell?
I put an order on demo for a sell.
A sell, okay.
Sorry, a sell, yeah. But I didn't like the pitchfork that's a couple of pips below price.
Right. On mine, on the 5 minutes, it's showing a buy at the moment, both the stochastics and the cloud, but it could turn around.
Yes, it did. It did go up from 292 to 311 just as I was placing the trade.
Yeah.
And it has been fluctuating 3, 5, 10 pips when I've been in it today. I still think it's going to go up to that next quarter theory. I'm pretty sure it will, but it may just take a bit of time, you know, not like.
But you're on a demo, so it doesn't matter, does it?
Well, no, quite. Although I do like to practice authentically, you know, checking my just the same system of trading, because I think it's the way you should be, isn't it? And then your behavior is the same in that, although you haven't got the same emotions, but your behavior of pressing the buttons and checking your figures and your analysis should be the same as on a live account, because then it becomes second nature. So on this big scan with the D point of 16th of December, which just yesterday, we have got and I'll put BYO, this on the hourly, we've got, I'll put the BYOB on in a minute. I'll just fade out this other scan. We've had the 62 cross down over under the 15-minute. So it's off the D point. It hasn't retested the D point. It's shot straight up to quarter theory, where it rejected off it, didn't want to come back down. So a strong upward momentum. It's then tested the 62, which it's still testing. And that's just me. I got out at 3 pips, as I said. And it's come up through that second pitchfork, and it's retesting the 62. So if we look at the 15-minute, I think this is the one thing we were uncertain about not liking, was the fact it hasn't come right back down and tested the D point, but it had, as a scan, solidified by the 20 pips, approximately pulls 15%. And you can see the 62 is now heading up to meet the 15-minute. It looks like it is. So I'm going to put the BYOB on for us on this one. I'm on the 15-minute. The stochastic on there. All right. And oh, slow. Trying to make that bigger. Come on. Well, at least you can see. I'll try and move it up, but it's just being quite slow. I wanted to make the stochastic bigger. Oh, I see. I've got it on twice. It's not very helpful, is it? It's better. For some reason I've hidden it. Well, I know why. Because I wasn't looking at it. Okay, so on the 50-minute, we've got the stochastic right at the bottom, and it's just nudging along. And on the scan, although the scan is an upward scan, so well, hopefully that might be a buy then on BYOB. Let me check the candles. Yeah. So we would be waiting for the SAR to flip on the 5 minutes. So the thing I like about this is it's kind of above the 62 and above the pitchfork, although you can't see it, but I've got a green pitchfork sitting in the background, so I always see that as another line of support and resistance. There, it's old extensions of a downward scan. It doesn't matter where it is because we're not following it. You tend to follow the most recent scan, but that says to me that this is a good buy, looking like a good buy situation on BYOB, but we haven't got any flat bottom candle. They've all been very wicky. And now we've got an indecision candle, that doji candle, plus it's under the 62. So that is like acting like a roof, forcing price down. So maybe it wants to chunter along the bottom a bit more, but this is on the 15-minute. But it has got the force of that pitchfork there, which again will want to squeeze it upwards. So it's probably, let's see what it's going to do on the hour. It probably is going to be a little bit that's still saying down there. You've got a flat bottom candle and a SAR flip, but it's halfway down the stochastic. And they're not very wide apart on the hourly. So you have, on the hourly, you have got a bit of a sell on BYOB, but the pitchfork situation with the extensions and that quarter theory down there would put me off doing more. That's 12 pips down to that on the hourly, down to that quarter theory, which is a strong line of support and resistance. So you're either going for a few pips. I don't think that's a very good trade on BYOB. You've got a few pips between there and the outer extension and quarter theory. It's an upward scan. It's halfway down here already, saying it's made most of its move. So I think it's probably going to chunter along and come back up and just put the pivots on, see where the highs and lazy man's highs and lows. So we've got the low one. It hasn't formed a new high. Oh, you've got one there, but you haven't got one here yet. So no trade, I don't think, on the hourly, and on the 15-minute, bottomed out, wicky candle, waiting for the SAR flip. So I think you could have, I think that's better off as a buy situation, looking for the SAR to flip on the 15-minute for 5 to 10 pips. I think it will probably go for more up to quarter theory, but it's not saying that on BYOB on the hourly. What does the 4 hourly tell us? The 4 hourly tells us it's on its way up, but it's over halfway. You haven't got a SAR flip. Yes, you have got a SAR flip, but you haven't got a flat bottom candle. And you've got the 62 has crossed down over the 15-minute. So that's saying to me it's probably going to turn before it gets over 80. So I think that looks to me like the pip range is narrowing just back to the smaller time frame, which is where I'm most comfortable, as you know. Let's get that, wait for the screen to catch up. So I think the 15-minute, oh, come on. being very slow. But it has on the way up. It's got to get past that. It's got to get past that pitchfork. So you can see on the 15-minute 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 15. So that's 80, 90, an hour and a half. It struggled along that pitchfork line, and it dropped down and is touching the 62, but from underneath is squeezed between those two and the extension. So if I was doing a buy on this, then on the 15-minute, I would be looking for 10 to 20 pips up to 132,000. I'm just going to write that down. USD CAD, possible buy 123,000. But on the 15-minute, I think normally you'd get something like 5 to 10 pips. Can't remember how the pip ranges work now. Up to the hourly, you can get up to 50 or so. So maybe the 15 is 10 to 20. I forget now. Getting late in the year, I'm getting a bit tired. So that's what I'd be looking for on that, is a buy, but I don't want to hop in that one on demo because the SAR hasn't flipped. We haven't got a flat bottom candle, but you have got those two old extensions off an old scan, and you've got quarter theory down there. But you've got an upward momentum on this scan, and you've got the stochastic now bottomed out at outside the purple box at 20 and under. So that's looking positive. So that's USD CAD. I think we were looking, I wanted to look at, unless anyone's got any suggestions, we'll look at USD JPY as we're in New York. Go to the 15-minute as our start point. I have been vaguely looking at this, but not. The reason I haven't been seriously looking at this is because when I drew this scan, I was not quite sure about it, because you can see I don't really like the look of the way it has gone straight out of these extensions off the D point and been up here. So I'm not sure how strong this scan is, particularly as the 62 has now come way up. This must have been, there was US news the other day, wasn't there? Now it's above quarter theory and it's heading up into an older, the purple scan. Ignore this green one. It's not doing anything with that, I don't think, at the moment. I think it's more likely that purple one because of the 62. And it's come out of this scan that I drew on the 12th of December. So just take the pivots off. We can put BYOB on it. But that's why I hadn't been selling this, because I was thinking, you know, what is it going to do? Is it going to carry on up with this older purple pitchfork, or is the extensions going to suck it back down? But then on USD CAD, we're looking at, I think Paul this morning said the Canadian dollar was getting weaker. So, you know, is the US dollar getting stronger, and is this going to continue its upward momentum? I wasn't quite sure what it was thinking of doing. So 15-minute, put the SARS on. High Kanashi on, and the stochastic. And I'm trying to make this bigger, and it just takes a, I try and drag it, it's just the system's slower because of Zoom, I think. Just make that a bit bigger for you. It's always Zoom slows it down a bit. So 15-minute, and the reason I like to stay on the 15-minute is it's my natural inclination. That's the kind of trading I like, that I'm most comfortable with, is scalping intraday on a stacking basis. Les tends to look at hourly and above, and I know Tony Lupino does, so I kind of think it might make sense at this time of day if I'm doing this, and then following up. Tony's in particular is very good at looking across the time frames to see if there's confluence. And Les is on at 7 p.m. UK time. I strongly suggest you get on that because he will be able to give you the watch list for trades that are setting up. So I kind of think staying at the 15-minute level is most comfortable for me and enables you to see the solidity of because we all use the Harmonic Scanner. Tony, Les and I look at the Harmonic Scanner as well. So Tony less so. I think he's more the cloud, similar principle. We use some other confirmations. Sometimes we overlay other strategies onto BYOB, which is the best strategy for starting with us in Forex. A lot of live trading every day and across the week, at least 27 hours, focusing on 3 simple confirmations. Has your little dot, this bright orange dot, flipped? Have you got a flat bottom candle? And is your stochastic in the extreme, over 20, under 20 for a buy, meaning it's oversold, and above 80 for a sell, meaning it's been overbought. So you're looking for a range outside of this. I ought to really leave that in purple, really. I think that that makes sense. I'm just going to put that on purple. Let's put on that pale one. So at the moment it's in the middle on the 15-minute. It's not doing anything very much. I'll just magnify this so we can have a look up here. Got the high Kanashi on. So you can see that it's working its way up to the over 80. You've got a flat bottom candle. It's above 62. It's coming above. It wants to come above this purple pitchfork. So it's to me, it's looking like it's still on its upward trajectory. Put my teeth in properly to say that word. To go to above 80. So my gut feeling is you have got a buy situation. I suspect it's still on the way up. I think I don't use the pie thing, but I think we have agreed. So someone would have to check it more. Is it more up to date? The USD was strengthening, and the GBP has been coming down a bit since the election. But the euro, I think, is still going up. So maybe the GBP is still going up. It had very good unemployment figures today and stability in the continuation of the appointments of the cabinet ministers and legislation being enshrined in law for the end of January to come out of the EU. So it doesn't matter what your politics are, what the market's like is certainty. And that's giving them certainty with a big majority government to be able to bring through legislation without too much argy-bargy, as we call it. So all that being said, I think you've probably got a little buy situation here, but you haven't got a lot of volume on the candles. I think Tony would always heed his advice on that. Try and remember what he tells me. So it's a fairly new strategy for me. But you can see how it did reject off these extensions. So price didn't want to come back down into this scan since the close of trading yesterday night. This is the Asian session all the way through. So you've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 perfect rejections there. And then the open of London, it's wanted to come up. It's tested that extension again, but it's now rejected the 62 again. So, we've had close of Tokyo, 1, 2, 3 rejections of the 62. So it does want to come, price does want to carry on upwards. Just but again, it's up to you whether you think you've got a few pips. If it was me, then I wait for it to go above this pitchfork candle to close above there. And price at the moment is at 106.09. But the candle hasn't closed above the pitchfork. Just put the pivots on, lazy man's high and low. That's the thing about Forex. People think it's difficult. It's not. It's fun. It's a process. I have videos, I've got eggheads on in the background at the moment. you know, do your own thing, set your alerts, make it enjoyable, and click a few buttons, and that's literally all we do, and we repeat the same process every day over and over again. And we all chat together, so it's very enjoyable. So clicked a button which tells me the highs and the lows in the market. We let the heavy tools do the lifting, as Paul says. So we've had a higher low, which says the market wants to go up, but it's dipped a bit there. But it's only retested the pitchfork, so it just gives another little test. And I'll just show you how we use a Fibonacci, which just again, let's see if it is doing it's doing the same rejection. So you have to get it accurate. Click the button. That's all we do. 634. It's only a weeny one. There's the 526. So because I'm thinking of buying it, I've put the Fibonacci on. Don't worry yourself about what Fibonacci is. It's all across nature, from snail shells to whatever. We don't really care what it is. We just know it works. It's patterns. It's to do with patterns and the market. You know, when I sit and trade, I don't think of candles. When I'm watching them moving, I'm thinking, like in London, I'm thinking of all the men and women in those big glass buildings, chatting and pressing buttons and eating their sandwiches at their desk and shouting at each other, and the sun is shining or it's raining outside, and they're talking and they've got the politics on and they're talking about what's happening in the world. I think of the people that are doing this. It's quite phenomenal. And I always do that when I'm trading. I think it's so amazing to me that one pip is $10 million, and some people are putting these huge 500 million lots on, and the market is $6.6 trillion a day being moved around. It's just fascinating, and the power of the people. So it's all people. It isn't maths, it isn't candles, it isn't working anything out. It's understanding what's behind it, following the patterns and clicking some buttons, and sticking with like-minded people who've got the skill set and elevate you, so that you all have the same commitment to wanting to be financially free, and we all win together and trade together and lose together sometimes. It's all about compounding. So Price is now obviously liked my pep talk about liking the people involved in the business, because Price has wicked a bit, but it is at least a flat bottom. It is going up. Anyway, the Fibonacci. So from low to high, the last low to the last high, or vice versa. If you're looking at a sell, you'll find it on the left-hand toolbar over here, down here, fib retracement. And what you're looking for is what it's rejecting off. So it wicked through the 88, which is the strongest one. That gives you the third leg of the Elliott wave. Don't worry about that. It's just a pattern that we use in the market. But it has rejected off the 78 there to the pip perfectly. Slightly missed it there. And then on the 68, it hasn't held that at all, except there it's slipped all the way through. So the 78, it's given us one confirmation that it wants to ping up. My favorite is the 88, because that's usually the longest leg of the Elliott wave, where you get the biggest boomerang back, but it's only a small Fibonacci and it hasn't done that. So, I just wanted to show you how the Fibonacci works. So I think it's going up and it's coming up outside that pitchfork, but it's not a trade I want to take, even though it's got the flat bottom, because we've missed the SAR flip there. And I'll just take that off so we don't get confused. So that's USD JPY. I'm going to put that down to watch it as a possible buy, and I'm going to say I want it to be round about 109, probably 109.60. I want it to, on the 1 minute. I usually look at the one. Oh, let's see if it had one. Let me just write down 109.60 just to. So on the 1 minute, it's still slipping through that pitchfork. Here's the 50. Now I quite like this. I think that will retest the 15-minute, because Price often does that between the 1 minute and the 15-minute, and that is a very good sign. If it tests 15-minute and it's sandwiched between that, it will test that and then carry on its pretty little upward way. So that could be down to, remember I'm on the 1 minute, which I know none of you trade, I'm not sure, but I like to look down at that precise entry. So a few pips down to test that 15-minute, boomerang off that and back up onto the buy. So something like this. So I'll leave that one with you. And they've changed trading views. I don't mind, you know, it's just you, every time you got used to something, you think of something else, which get you just to keep you on your toes. So that's USD CAD. Let's have a look at CAD JPY. So because I'm in London to New York crossover, the main pairs I'll be looking at, I do try and look through quite a few, but the main pairs I look at obviously are USD and CAD, Canadian dollar, because they are the two currencies traded in New York session. They're what you call the hot pairs. London would be Chef, Swiss franc, Euro, and GBP. Yeah.
Just to let you know, I've just taken 10 pips on the sell on Euro JPY.
Oh, I had that as a buy. Oh no, we said a sell on the 15-minute.
Yeah, you said a sell, yeah. Just to let you know, I followed your advice and I jumped in on the trade then. I just took 10 pips on.
Oh, well done, Les. Thanks for that.
So there's a result for you.
Yeah, that is great. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Appreciate that. So CAD JPY, let me get rid of these session breaks. There. Right, so on this, I wish I hadn't changed the background of that, because I always like to stick with the colours that everybody else uses. Then I think everyone gets their eye in the same way. I'll have to fiddle around with those candles. So here we are on CAD JPY, which we had said the Canadian dollar was weakening. Again, I don't use the pie chart, currency strength indicator, but I know Paul said that this morning. So if anyone uses it, please do check what it's telling us on that. So on the hourly, you can see the last scan I had on this was an upward scan drawn quite a way back, 20th of November. And here we've got another one that, well, that took ages to break and retest the D point. 21st of November through to the 3rd of December. Very long break and retest, then drop down. I don't remember being in a trade on that, but sometimes I do that to mark it up. And it's hit the median, which means it's fair game for a buy or a sell once it's hit the median on the pitchfork. Come right back down, but here we've got the 62 has crossed above on the 11th of December, and it has carried on in that upward trajectory. There's that posh word again. I used the word conducive the other day, and my northern friend here said, nothing against northerners, by the way, nothing personal. She said, what does that mean? And I had to stop and think. I thought, well, I wasn't trying to be funny. I just seemed like the right word. But anyway, try not to get too fancy. So that has come above the median here. It's still in a strong upward trend. It's still respecting the scan. So it is, to me, a momentum. It's a momentum trade that I'd like to be taking. You've got the quarter theory there. It's off the pitchfork. So it looks to me like it still wants to come up, because price will normally, not on its own, I don't use it on its own as confirmation, the quarter theory, which are 50 pip moves, but generally price, if you look back, it will, there's the quarter theory there. I suppose you can read it how you want to read it, can't you? But it's gone up to quarter theory, rejected quarter theory, broke through virtually, I don't know how many pips that is, probably more than one or two, virtually to the next pitchfork, drop back down. There's quarter theory there, up to the pitchfork, down to quarter theory, rejected off the extension, bang up through, which must be news, bang up through, so about 75 pips, pitchfork, reject quarter theory, down through down through quarter theory, but to the extension, reject off quarter theory, back up to quarter theory to the pip, rejection, then breakthrough on the UK election. That's another 75 pips. That must be either, well, it's news of some sort there. And then you could, well, anyway, the point is you can see how it rejects or respects quarter theory most of the time. So although here it's just gone down to the pitchfork and the 62, so I think it still wants to carry on up to this pitchfork. So this is probably channel trading now here. So let's look at the 15-minute CAD JPY, and let's put the BYOB on. SARS, got that on. Have I got the right candles? Yeah. Have I got the 4 candles, as the Ronnies say? Joke for our British friends. So on the 15-minute, we've got it halfway down the stochastic, so it's not a brilliant trade from that point of view. And it's at the moment, it's just hugging the 62, so it's in a period of consolidation. And the 62 is your rolling line of support and resistance. And that's how you should view it. I do take great notice of the 62 EMA, particularly when it crosses. So that, to me, where it crossed, is very powerful, which is right back here. I've got all oranges on. There it is. There, crossed over, 10th of December. That's close of play, Tokyo session, and then New York and London session, all consolidation really. And then it decided to make its move, touched back on the pitchfork. That'll be Tokyo consolidation. That's why we have hot pairs. Look at your hot pairs. When life is active, the sun is up. That's when people are trading those currencies. Yep.
I'm going to have to go, Sarah.
Yeah. Oh, it's 3 o'clock. Yes. 2 o'clock your time.
That call, I think I measured it started with 14 pips. So good call on that one.
Which one?
The one that you called, is it Euro EJ?
Oh, the one Les got?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for that. Good. Okay, well, I'll just finish this off, then I'll join you. Oh, I've got to go shopping as well. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
No problem. Bring it always. Thank you.
Oh, no, pleasure. Thank you. So on the 15-minute, for me, it's still a buy. I'll just magnify this. We've had a SAR flip with a flat bottom, but it's halfway down the stochastic on the 15-minute. If you wanted to get into it, you've got to be wary of this pitchfork, which is an aggressive line. It's much more aggressive than much more accurate than a trend line because it has Fibonacci built into it. So you've got 5 pips there. Very few pips, even though it's a flat bottom, it's below the 62. So you've got a couple of pips, but by the time you've done your spread in commissions, it's probably not worth getting into unless you believe that it's got more room to go down to quarter theory, and I'm not sure that it has, because if I I don't usually go to the 30-minute, I never trade off it, but I'll just put it on so we've split the difference to have a look at the pivots. So we've got a lower high, which means the market wants to come down. You have a natural sort of trend line. And you've got 3 lower lows. So the market does want to come down, but that is your previous low at 83.088. So you've probably only got this gap here before it decides, is it going to come down to 83 flat, or is it going to turn round and come back up? As I say, we don't usually trade off the 30-minute. I think that actually I'm not sure, because the CAD's getting weaker, the Canadian dollar is getting weaker, but certainly we've still got the 62 above the 15-minute. And let's look at the hourly. we've got an upward trend, but it's already started its move. We had low volume. Well, you would expect that because that's Tokyo session, and then coming into London, it decided it would sell, but not a lot of volume. So it probably hasn't. We've had a SAR flip there. Wiki candles. There's nothing on the hourly. It might decide it wants to do something later on, but at the moment it's slow to move, and there's no flat bottom candle on the hourly. And on the 4 hourly, we've got it down to there's some channel trading going on there. Down, no, we've got a flat bottom, but not a lot of volume. And I can't see a SAR flip yet on the 4 hourly, but it's not over 80, so that's kind of your pip range is compressing. Let's just go back to 50 minutes, and then I'll finish there. I won't go through any other pairs today because we want to get on some other sessions that there's Sharon on, I think, today, though people are starting to go down to Christmas holidays. And also Manic Quinones does Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, 2 p.m. UK time, if you want to get more into the sniper strategy, banker strategy. So I hope you found that session helpful. Please do reach out for me. And if you have been successful with any of the trades I call, I greatly appreciate it if you post in the comment box under the trading in Forex Trade, Ninja Forex Traders. And if you want to know more about scanners, pitchforks, and get my trades, I don't always post them in Ninjas, and the reason is because I'm working on a 10 pip stop loss, and therefore a 1 minute entry. You don't have to enter on the 1 minute, but that's how I can keep, usually apart from GB pairs, to a 10 pip stop loss. I can't, it's not really always suitable for signals, because sometimes I get, it goes sort of quicker. And it's only if I think it's going to go for more, at least 10 or 20, that I post it, because you need to do your own analysis. I don't want people blindly getting into trades and then saying, oh, she made 10 pips, but I lost 5, because, I'm not working off those big long swing trades all the time. If I do, then I'm stacking in. And GB pair, if you're in GB pairs in a normal time of year, then you are in GBP to make 50 or 60 pips. So they're good when they run, very good when they run. So that's all for today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and please do feel free to reach out to me if you need anything, and please do remember Les is on tonight looking at 1 hourly harmonic scan and BYOB at 7 p.m. so if you are at work, you can catch him later. Very useful, in particular for the watch list, especially if you're working. So see you all later. Bye.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks,
You're
Sarah.
welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you.